Just as revelers spilled onto DC's famous U Street corridor late Friday night, the nation's capital held its breath, not knowing yet that the streets could soon feel far less local and far more federal. President Donald Trump declared a 7-day federal law enforcement surge in Washington, D.C., vowing on Truth Social that, if D.C. doesn't get its act together, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city. His message, bold and ominous, came after a violent carjacking attempt on Edward Coreystein, a high-ranking staffer in the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, prompting urgent calls for intervention. But when night fell and Trump's decree was supposed to take effect, the reality was more subdued. A 2-hour inspection of the city's nightlife zones revealed only the familiar sight of Metropolitan Police Department, MPD patrols, no swarms of federal boots in sight. Trump's administration, however, insisted the plan was underway. As per the White House, agencies such as the U.S. Park Police, Capitol Police, DEA, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and others were mobilized to ensure D.C. streets would soon be free of violent criminals. The move aligns with executive orders tied to a Making D.C. Safe and Beautiful task force, possibly extendable beyond the initial week if needed. For critics, the threat of federal takeover strikes at the district's autonomy. Washington, D.C., long governed under the Home Rule Act of 1973, enjoys limited self-rule, with Congress retaining budget and legislative control. Overturning that structure would require congressional action. Courts may yet challenge any federal overreach. The policy sparked immediate civilian and political backlash. D.C. council members like Eleanor Holmes Norton blasted the move as disproportionate, especially since the data show a sharp decline in violent crime, down 26% overall, and carjackings nearly halved from the previous year. Some residents say Trump's narrative threatens local authority and fuels political theater. Others worry credible solutions to youth crime are being seized as pretext for broader control. That said, D.C.'s public safety landscape isn't flawless. The assault on Coreystein and a history of teen-led carjacking spikes spotlight growing mistrust and anxiety. Last year, a 14-year-old was charged with killing a Lyft driver during a failed carjacking, underlining a graphic escalation and prompting local curfews and stricter juvenile laws driven by the D.C. Council. So what comes next? Trump's planning includes a Monday press conference to address his crime crackdown, and he hasn't ruled out deploying the National Guard or rescinding Home Rule, but doing so would invite constitutional clashes. Meanwhile, residents await tangible results. Will the federal presence stay largely symbolic, or will the capital's balance of power shift dramatically? Will local leadership be sidelined, or will it finally gain stronger tools to address youth violence without shedding its autonomy? The capital stands at a crossroads, between federal power and local self-determination, headline politics and durable public safety. And whether or not Trump's promises materialize on the streets, Washington's governance structure may be forever altered in the debate that follows. If you're following the clash over DC's future, its federalism, and evolving crime strategies, stay in the loop. Subscribe now for meaningful updates, expert analysis, and on-the-ground reports.